Objectives of the campaign. The objectives are to release a sports drink and change their record of releasing new products and failing. They wanted to take 10% market share within 2 years, so taking 8% share from Gatorade and Powerade's 98% market share, meaning 200,000 people would have to regularly drink the product at an average of 26 times a year, or 80% of the population to have the drink between 5 and 7 times a year. They wanted to have the 67% of sales being brought on promotion while creating a brand that didn't mimic Gatorade or Powerade. They wanted to stand out. They also wanted to launch the sports drink as the first non-sports drink. They also had the objective of selling 7.5 million drinks over 2 years and 26% brand awareness for buyers. They wanted to get 1 million people to try the drink during their marketing and launch period. Challenges faced in the campaign. The challenges faced in the campaign are to launch a sports drink that was different to any other. They wanted to release a sports drink and change their record of releasing new products and failing. A big challenge was to take 10% of the market share within 2 years, so taking 8% share from Gatorade and Powerade's 98% market share, which they wouldn't let go of easily. They wanted to create a brand that didn't mimic Gatorade or Powerade and stood out because of their influence on retailers, distribution chains, and media suppliers. Any brand that stole directly from Powerade or Gatorade would not get distribution, so they needed to steer clear of the similar category standard. Their main challenge was mainly with consumers and retailers, with 75% of consumers reporting that they were happy with the product category before Maximus was released. And retailers were happy with the sports drink category sales and were hesitant to adding a third brand just in case it diminished the value of the category in any way. Explain how the client worked with the creative agency, media planning, and buying agency in order to meet the campaign objectives. The client worked with media planning to release the drink through a 6-part TV show that was based on Maximus. When beginning the series, they also released a huge amount of out-of-house advertisements, such as billboard and metro lights. Afterwards, they released the special edition drink for Hangovers released. Along with the out-of-house advertising, they used a social media campaign led by competitors and videos, with the biggest competition being "How Big Is Your Grip?", where the consumers took photos of themselves with the biggest grip around the Maximus bottle to win a trip to Vegas. When looking at the creative agency, most of it came from product branding, so they gave the brief of volume in sports comes from men. Also, 63% of sports drinks were being used for not only sport but hydration, focusing on men aged 16 to 44. While using sports drinks, they're normally doing manual labor, they have hangovers, or they're relaxing at home. The creative agency came up with the idea, "Go Big," a hyperbole that really introduces the product. After that, they introduced the tape measure to make it seem even bigger. The name Maximus is quite a bold name. When you reduce it down to max, it means full, meaning that the name is a massive part of the brand as well. They used billboards with the extra bit on the top to make people see Maximus as a bigger product, and working to make sure the consumer has the mental availability. They positioned being the "go big and straight up, no bullshit," like the consumer had said in the interview, in the main part of their creative process. The most part where Maximus had paid for was out-of-house products such as bus signs, tram signs, metro lights, billboards, posters, on the back of toilets, those posters as well, But then they also have the TV series where they would have spent a lot of money on as well. The competitions and the online social media posts are free, but that does come into what they did plan to do to advertise. Discuss the creative strategy. Was it successful or unsuccessful? Use theories from class. The creative part consisted of the product branding and creating a brand the consumers can identify. They spoke to their future consumers, then gained a perspective on what they needed to make out of the product. When in class, we went through all of the steps that you need to go through to get to your final product, which I believe that they used in their brief. Next, they gained objectives for the product out of that information. Then they figured out their creative strategy and how they were going to succeed in it. In their creative strategy, they looked at who and what the consumer needs the product for. And to meet the advertising objectives, the strategy consisted of the Go Big slogan, the measuring tape, the name Maximus, the shape and size of the bottle, the billboard extra size, the flavour and colour of the main bottle being advertised, which is a very popular flavour and colour, keeping a small amount of writing on billboards so consumers remember the slogan, calling bullshit to other brands and being straight up with their consumers, so being honest. They needed a powerful notion to be able to reach their consumers, and calling bullshit to the other brands was a massive thing. Positioning of photos on out of house, making it look like the bottle is bigger than it actually is by the camera angle. Discuss why the media strategy was successful or unsuccessful. Use theories discussed in class. The media strategy started with their TV series, then went on to the OOH by releasing billboards that are bigger than the average. They used social media, the 6 videos and the competitions online advertising with each submission entered. I feel it was all very successful, especially following their statistics on the case study and looking at how many people they communicated with. I feel they could have used radio and well, especially with the drives home from work for the 18 to 44-year-old people. When they see the sign and hear the "Go Big" on the radio, but in saying that, they also had a huge success. Provide recommendations on how the campaign could have been improved. Use theories from class. I think it could be improved by having more videos focusing on the actual bottle. When looking online, I only found one video that was focused only on the bottle, and it was a little bit silly. If they could make another bottle video without mocking it, the product would look a lot more appealing. I feel the best time of day to advertise would be the afternoon after work and school, when people are feeling run down and dehydrated, when they could have put in an ad on the radio. When looking online on their Facebook feeds, I found that they posted a lot in the morning when a lot of people are online but they're not necessarily dehydrated. I feel like their product would be really wanted in the afternoon, and if people saw it in the afternoon, that it would be promoted a lot more. They could have gone into sponsorship to further promote the business with other companies, meaning that they would have been able to go further with their advertising as well. Also, if they added an element to the product to be environmentally friendly, that would have been awesome and would have opened up a whole new door for people using the product as well. They could have had some celebrity reviews or YouTube reviews when they released it, which would have been amazing when they released it because it's cheap, people can afford it, and the celebrity is saying it's great. So I think that really would have benefited them if they had that money. And so the product is more trusted by the consumer as well, because we know that it's cheap, but not necessarily that it's as reliable as Powerade and Gatorade. The last thing that I'm going to say is when looking online, when looking at images or going onto Facebook or looking up videos on YouTube even, there wasn't much content. There were a few videos that came up, but nothing that just said Maximus. I feel like their online content really needs to be bold and really show their brand.